Hey there, friends. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's January is going good. I hope we are reading great things. So I have at least 71, 72 physical books on my shelf. My reading goal this year is 70 books. Now, mind you, I do want to prioritize physical books this year. So on top of, or I don't know if I'd say on top of the 70 book goal, I want to prioritize the books that I currently own. So for 2025, there are at least 25 of those books on my shelf that I do want to prioritize. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The 25 books that I want to ensure that I read in 2025. And in all honesty, I think 23 of them are physical, and then there are 2 ebooks that have been on my Kindle for a while. So, but 25 books that I own that I want to prioritize. Before we get into things, guys, you know the drill. If you are enjoying yourself, if you're enjoying the content, if you love listening to me ramble, you love seeing my little pup, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. All right, without further ado, let's jump into things. Okay, so I'm gonna try to ensure this isn't super lengthy. Of all times, this is now when Pepper has decided to play. She has been pretty much just chilling all day, just laying around, lounging, and now that mommy is filming, now she wants to play. So, I know the drill. Forget the background noise. So, let's start off with first book. So Let Them. Our first book is So Let Them Burn by Camila Cole. So this is a fantasy. I'm not sure if this is adult fantasy or young adult fantasy. I cannot recall. I've had this one for a while now. So this one follows our main character. I believe her name is Farron or Farron. Farron sounds better. She has the ability to harness the power of the gods, and she used it to win this great battle. So, you know, the whole kingdom, her whole village, wherever she's from, everybody loves her, right? So, Farron is invited to this peace summit, right? She goes to the peace summit, right? Lo and behold, her sister's there. And not only is her sister there, but her sister is there with an enemy dragon. Yes, there's dragons in this. So Farron is like, yo, I gotta get my sis away from this dragon. But unfortunately, the only way to break the bond between the dragon and the person is through death. She'd have to kill her sister. Sounds good, sounds exciting, sounds high stakes. Sounds like there's a lot of action to it. 24 more to go. Let's go. All right, our next book is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. And y'all, I really have to read this book. Because, well, I have 2. I picked 2 of her books for my 2025. So I really gotta get on it. I really need to get into this woman's catalog. This has been dubbed as like a Carrie retelling. And if you're not familiar with Carrie is a Stephen King novel. There's a movie. I've never read the book, but I've seen the movie. But okay, so in this book, in The Weight of Blood, we have kind of the similar setup, similar situation. Our main character, her name is Madison. So Madison is basically an outcast at her school, in her community. She's being raised by her father, I want to say, maybe? Yes, she's being raised by her...
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Her fanatical white father. And she's biracial, but she's been passing as white like her whole life. So once her secret comes out, the bullies amp it up. It's gonna backfire. So it says Maddie still has another secret, and that will cost them all their lives. Get 'em, Maddie. Get 'em, girl. Get 'em. All right, moving on. I'm moving on. Who sang that? Maya. I thought it was Brandy's song at first. The next book that I have is Daughter of the Merciful Deep by Leslie Penelope. So this is a historical fantasy. It is inspired by the history of drowned black towns in the United States, in the South in particular. In this story, we have Jane. She's our main character. So she hasn't spoken a word since she was 11 years old. So when Jane was 11, her family, the other people in her community, they are all basically chased away from their homes and ran out of their neighborhood. 12 years go by. Her and her family have settled into a all-black community called Awanasa. So life is good. Life is great. She still hasn't. She has not spoken a word. So it says that 12 years go by. She has not spoken a word since that traumatic event, only to turn around and once again have their homes, their lives in jeopardy once again. So now they're at risk of losing their homes, their communities, their families due to a dam being built. Basically, their homes, their town is being, is at risk of being washed away and turned into a lake, essentially. She's eager to do whatever it takes to save her town. And along comes this stranger who has this knowledge about magic and gods. And so she's eager. She's desperate to do whatever it takes to save her town. This is her home now. And along comes this stranger who has this knowledge, this information about, gods and ancestral magic. And one can assume, that at some point she is going to be curious about this and maybe look at this as an avenue to save her town. So it says, in order to save her community, Jane will have to find her voice again and finally face the trauma of the past. I'm excited for this. This is a fantasy. Also one of my big goals for this year is to read more fantasy. Y'all, come get y'all Fernies. Come get y'all internet Fernies. Moving on. Now that we got a break, now we got a little bit of silence. Our next book is Bear Time by Frederick Bachman. So apparently they made a show that's based on this book. So this book is basically centered around this high school, I think it's a high school hockey team, right? High school ice hockey team that basically means the world to this town. It's their, I don't know if it's initially their bread and butter, but it's one of those small towns. They get behind high school sports, right? Something happens, something tragic happens, something traumatic happens that is going to affect this hockey team, that is going to affect this town. And I've heard that this is a really emotional book. This is going to emotionally wreck you. I kind of, just based on some reviews that I've seen, I kind of have an idea of the traumatic event that happens. Definitely going to take care when reading this, but I definitely want to read it. Y'all know I love a book that just tears me down emotionally, so sounds like a good time, right? Is anybody else or any of you doing the 25 and 25 challenge? Ooh, okay. So the next book that I have. So this is one that I was really excited about and did not get around to reading it. I was supposed to read it last year. So this is The Girl with No Reflection. This is a fantasy. This is by Keshi Chow. So we have our main character. So we have our Princess Ying. She marries this prince. It's an arranged marriage. Prince, princesses, all that good jazz. So anyway, so she is set to marry this prince. They get married and, she's a princess. So she's thinking, this is Prince Charming. I'm going to live this Hold on, y'all, because Pepper getting ready to knock over one of my daggone box lights. Hold on, boo, let me go. She's a princess. She's thinking, hey, this is Disney. I'm gonna live happily ever after. I got my prince. What could go wrong? Apparently a lot. Apparently a lot could go wrong. So her Prince Charming, locks her up, you know, on their wedding night, locks her in her room. Weird, creepy things start to happen. She starts hearing things. Not only does she hear things, she starts like hearing these rumors also, you know, because I mean, I'm assuming, you know, there's still like maids and stuff like that who come in to, you know, dress her and stuff or whatever. She's a princess. She's hearing these rumors that she's not his first bride. There have been other princesses. Y'all, where are the other princesses? Where are the divorce papers? Why am I just finding this out, sir? How did I not know? Like, your family didn't say anything, my family didn't say anything. So, sounds like an interesting ride. Sounds good. I'm intrigued. So, more historical fantasy. So this is one that's also been, this one came out last year as well. So this is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. And Leigh Bardugo, she wrote the Shadow and Bone series, right? Was that her? I do believe so. That's another series that I want to read. I loved that show. Did any of you watch Shadow and Bone? I love that series. And I was so like heartbroken when I found out that they were canceling it. Like what? Like that was a good freaking series. So let's break it down. So like I said, this is a historical fantasy. This is set during the time period of the Spanish Inquisition. So it's set in Madrid. Lucia. Okay, so Lucia is our main character. She is a maid. I think they call her a scullery maid. She a maid. So anyway, one day her mistress, her employer, discovers that Lucia has powers. Lucia has magic. She can do things. So Lucia is being exploited by her mistress, right? She's basically having her, you know, turn tricks, so to speak. You know, she's doing little things to basically, you know, amuse her mistress. Well, then this shady guy who works for the king finds out about her powers. And he tries to exploit her. We're going to see what happens to Lucia. So our next book is Shiver by Ali Reynolds. And this is a thriller. So this one follows a group of friends or a group of teammates. They are competitive snowboarders. They get invited to the ski lodge like 10 years after the disappearance of one of their friends. So they get there, things look amiss. Sinister, creepy things start happening. Are we gonna find out what happened to that friend? The next book is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akweke Emeze, or Emezi. Emezi. This one is, this says a romance. I think it's, I feel like someone said that it's more like fiction, but Marie Claire says it's a romance, though. I'm gonna roll with it. This one is about our main character, Faye. The love of her life passed away 5 years prior. She has been single. She wants to get back out on the dating scene. So she meets some guy at a rooftop party, which leads to this whirlwind summer romance. Wasn't looking for anything serious, but she meets the perfect guy. Like this guy could be the one, right? But then she meets his daddy. And apparently, watch me brush my sides back that I don't have. Apparently, Miss Faye is attracted to them both.
Damn!
So, we got a little bit of a love triangle going here, I guess. So this sounds like a wild ride. Like, I'm all for Faye and her second chance, but girl, this sounds messy. You're not gonna be scamming on this man's daddy? Faye, Come on, girl. So this sounds messy. This sounds like a good time. I'm here for it. Have y'all read any of these? Let me know down in the comments. The next book is Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. So this is a young adult thriller. And this one has been dubbed as similar to Squid Games. So this book follows our main female character, Adina. So Adina is a black girl at a predominantly white school. You know, she's at this prestigious school, you know, for the rich and the famous, right? But Adina is not rich. She is there on scholarship. So Adina gets into an altercation, a squabble, something happens. Adina gets in trouble. Not only is it kind of putting her scholarship at risk, but she also gets basically, like, you know, blackballed or blacklisted, you know, for her preferred Ivy League school. You know, she's got one shot at basically improving her chances of getting into her dream school, and that is by entering in this high stakes competition. So that sounds all well and good, except the fact that it's basically sponsored by the founding members of this prestigious school. So are they really going to be impartial? Does she really have a shot at this? As this little competition goes on, Adina is starting to realize, baby, this ain't no game. This is life or death. So, sounds good. So we have another historical fantasy, and this is The Deep by River Solomon. Y'all, when I heard Kayla from Kayla's Bookish Vibes talking about this, I didn't realize how thin this book was. I didn't realize, like, this is a novella. I didn't realize, oh, I almost dropped it. I didn't realize how small this book was. But this book is a historical fantasy, and it is about, our main character is Yetu. Okay, so Yetu is the memory keeper for her people. Her people are her community, her family, her community. They are the descendants of pregnant slaves who were thrown overboard by their slave owners. Yetu is the holder of these memories. These memories are deemed to be so traumatic, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, right? So they've been removed from everybody else. But Yetu, they feel is strong enough to be the keeper of all this sorrow and anguish. And one day it just becomes too much for her. And she is determined to break free. She's like, I can't take it anymore. She swims for the surface. And she discovers a world that the Wajinru, that's her, you know, the people. She discovers the world the Wajinru left behind long ago. NPR says this is immersive, gut-wrenching, and poetic. I can't wait to read that. Yes. And it is nice and short, but I feel like even though it's short, I feel like this is gonna pack a freaking punch. All right, next. Next. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. So, Exhibit A.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my brother.
I have already read this now. This was was this my first book of 2025? Oh, wait a minute. I think I've read 3 books so far this year. Hold on now. Look at me playing myself. I think I have read 3, no. Yes, I've read 3 books. I played myself. So, 1, 2, 3. Girl, give credit where credit's due. You read 3 books already this year. For some of you, that may be nothing. But for me, that is something. All right, so, y'all, I say Cosby like my real. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me put the phone down. That's my dog. You don't even know it. It's my dog. All right, anyway. So, yes, Magnolia Park. So this was on my January hopefuls. So I did the whole TBR will thing. Magnolia Parks did not get picked by the randomizer. So I made the executive decision to add this to the TBR. It's on my 25 in 2025, and I've been wanting to read this for so long. I got it done, so go ahead and check this one off the list. Y'all, this book is so good. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of run down what it's about. So this is a part of a series, and I think there's like 5 or 6 books. So this one follows Magnolia. She's our main character. Magnolia is this socialite, this London socialite. So is her boyfriend. So basically this is kind of following like Magnolia and her boyfriend and their whole little crew, right? They're like the rich kids. So we're following their friend group, but specifically we're following the relationship between Magnolia and her on again, off again boyfriend, BJ. They're dysfunctional. Yeah, look, they're dysfunction. Finally, after years of this, their dysfunction is catching up with them, pulling at their seams and fraying the world they've built. But they're not ready to let go. Not yet, at least. Some people kind of relate it to or compare it to Gossip Girl. I never watched Gossip Girl. I don't have a point of reference there. But yeah, I get that it's kind of, I guess, like teen soapy vibes. We'll hash it out in my January wrap up. So, but good book. All right. So next we have Model Home by River Solomon. This is another River Solomon book. And this one is considered horror. And I think this is River Solomon's take on the haunted house genre. So we have this sibling group, these 3 siblings, them and their parents. They are the only black family in their community. Scary stuff happens in their home, and when they become adults, they're like, we're out of here. We can't take this anymore. We're gone. So they move away once they're all old enough to do so. But after they learn that their parents died, they all come back to town, of course. They come back to that house to basically try to figure out what the heck happened to their parents. How did their parents die? They are tasked with not only finding that out, but also basically facing their childhood and the things that happened to them in that house, you know, when they were younger. I heard that this is pretty heavy. So this is a horror, but I think it's one of those Jordan Peele horrors, you know? So I hear that it's kind of on the heavy side. Next we have Blood Marked by Tracy Dion, and this is a part of a series. This is the 2nd book in the series, and the first book is Legendborn, and this is a young adult fantasy series, and it has been, I guess, compared to where it's been said that it's a King Arthur retelling. I read the first one. I read Legendborn last year, and it was really good. So basically, this series follows our main character, Brew. Brew is a high school student who gets accepted into a kind of like a college prep course at the University of North Carolina. So that is the one cool thing about this series, is that it is a fantasy, but it is set in like modern contemporary times. If you're trying to get into fantasy, this sounds like this would be a good series to start with. This is book 2. Can't really tell you a whole lot about it, just that it basically follows the events of book 1. Go read book 1 first, and then we can talk about book 2, okay? Bree, high school student, gets accepted into this college prep program at UNC. She is grappling with grief, the loss of her mother. One night she witnesses something. She sees something, and she discovers that, wow, magic is real. Magic exists. So then she starts remembering things that she had forgotten or she didn't realize had happened. And so she starts thinking, she gets suspicious about her mom's death. Because she's like, hey, I remember this person was there, but these stories aren't lining up. Things aren't not making sense now. So she finds herself involved with this group of kids, this group of students who actually turned out to be the descendants of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And they are a part of this secret society. So she basically kind of infiltrates their little group because she thinks that maybe they might hold some answers as to what happened to her mother. Very good book. That's basically the rundown of book 1. But so far I'm loving the series after book 1. It is a little bit of a, it is a bit of a romantasy too, you know, so really good read. All right, next we have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. And this is a book that Kalila D has raved about. So this book here follows our main character, Eleanor. Eleanor is a bit on the eccentric side, has a very routine life. It follows a meticulous schedule. She doesn't really have a social life, you know, outside of her mother. And it sounds like her and her mother may have a bit of a contentious relationship as well. So basically, Eleanor has lived this sheltered life, and then she meets this guy who, it sounds like he's gonna open up a whole new world for her and help her heal. I'm trying to get through this a little faster. Next up is The Neighbor Favor. So this is a romance by Christina Forrest. So this book follows our main male character, main female character. Our main female character is Lily. Our main male character is Nick. Lily's family, they have these high standards, and Lily has never quite felt like she lives up to those standards. She wants to become a children's book editor one day. That's her ultimate goal, but she's kind of stuck in a position that she really don't want to be in. She has been kind of writing back and forth with like her favorite fantasy author. So then we have our main male character, Nick. And Nick is a writer. And Nick doesn't use his actual name for his books. He uses a pen name. Turns out Nick and Lily have actually been emailing each other. He's the fantasy writer that she's been emailing, and neither one of them realize it, but they're neighbors. So they're neighbors. He doesn't know that she is who she is, and he does, and she, y'all know what I'm trying to say. They don't know that that's who they've been communicating with, right? So it sounds like he is going to discover that. He's unwilling to complicate things even more between them. He agrees to set her up with someone else, though this simple favor between two neighbors is anything but. Not when he can't get her off his mind. Next book is Take My Hand, and this is by Dolan Perkins Valdez. This is historical fiction. Yes, this is historical fiction. It follows, I think she's a nurse, right? Yes. So it's set in Montgomery, Alabama in 1973. So it follows this nurse. So she gets involved with this family, and they are a rather poor family. They have these young girls, and she is tasked with putting these girls on birth control. She's uncomfortable with this, but she does her job and does it anyway. Life goes on, and she has her own family, her own kids, and years pass, and then somehow she's drawn back to this family, it sounds like, for decades to go by. And this is the case that still like has her, and you know, has a grip on her. Must be pretty powerful. Oh, this one, okay, so this is one I just got recently in my book outlet haul. So this is The Blueprint by Ray Gianna Rashad. This one is a historical fantasy. Okay, this one is set in like 1800s Louisiana, and it is about enslaved concubines. Inspired by the lives of enslaved concubines to United States politicians and planters, The Blueprint unfolds over dual timelines to explore bodily autonomy, hypocrisy, and power imbalances through the lens of the nation's most unprotected, a Black female. Yes. All right, the next one, we got another Tiffany D. Jackson. This one is Monday's Not Coming. So another young adult thriller. So this one follows our main character. Her name is Claudia. She has a best friend named Monday. So Monday goes missing, and Claudia is convinced that something, you know, hey, like this is unusual, this is out of character for her, something's happened to her. Either nobody is listening to her, or they're just not putting any real effort into finding this girl. And so Claudia makes it her mission to, you know, to find her friend. So this one sounds really good. This is clearly speaking to an issue that is quite prevalent in our country, and that is the abduction of young black girls, young black children in this country, and the higher rate young black girls and young black women go missing and basically, you know, their cases are not solved. It just feels like not a whole lot of effort is put into finding these girls. It sounds like a very good book, very good read. This is one I'm really looking forward to. I've been hearing so much about it, especially since the new cover was released, and that is Real by Kennedy Ryan. So this is a romance. So this one follows our main character Neva. She is an actress, and our main male character Cannon, who is it Kanan? Kanan or Cannon? Kanan. I'm gonna go with Kanan, but Cannon also sounds like it could be right. And so it sounds like this is a little bit of a forbidden romance, because we have that power differential. He is the director, she is the actress. Forbidden attraction, scandal, and circumstances beyond Neva's control soon put her dream in jeopardy. Could this one shot, the role of a lifetime, the love of a lifetime, cost her everything? All right, the next book is Skyful of Elephants, and this one is by Sibo Campbell. I believe this is a debut novel for this author, and this one sounds so wild. It came out last year. The moment I heard about it, I was like, I have to have that. So this is fiction, speculative fiction, dystopian. The premise of this is that one day all the white people in, I don't know if it's just the United States or the world. Did it say the world? Or just the United States? Yeah, so in America. So one day, all the white people in America just decide to up and walk into the nearest body of water and unalive themselves. But basically, we're just kind of seeing what America looks like after such an event. This one sounds, like I said, sounds wild. I can't wait to read this. I am very intrigued. Like, how do you even think of that? I feel like that's one of those, like, it's such a wild concept. Like, how do you come up with that idea? I feel like it's one of those, like, you're sitting around, you gotta be, I'm in no way, shape, or form, like, accusing this author of sitting there using, using illicit drugs, but I feel like it's one of those, like, you see in movies when, like, people are, like, when they're high, like, on shrooms or some form of psychedelics, that it's something that's something that they would, like, ponder about, like, oh, man, like, yeah, wow, you know, like, what would life be like if, you know, that just sounds like such a trippy, like, concept. Anyway, I don't know. It just, like, it's wild. Like, how did he think of that? I can't wait to read it. Next up is This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. Y'all, we got black vampires. I mean, need I say more? There's not a whole lot of representation. You don't see a whole lot of black vampires. Like, Edward Cute, don't get me wrong, but, and that whole series we had one black vampire? That one dude, he was bad? I mean, there may have been more, not, you know, like, I ain't running the movies down in my head. I don't have them memorized, but I remember that one. So, we got the whole Cullen squad and the Volturi, but I feel like we only had one black vampire in that whole series. And if y'all like, oh, well, there was that one, not enough. Absolutely not. You're not gonna have 100 white vampires and then all you can tell me about is two black ones. We want to be vampires too, daggone it. This Ravenous Fate, it is, I believe it's set in the time of the Harlem Renaissance. Romantasy. It says deliciously dark and beautifully vicious. And it is a sapphic romance at that. So, double the representation, okay? Loving it. Can't wait to read it. And I believe this is a debut novel too, so kudos to Haley. we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. And this is one that I'm really excited about. I was gonna read this one like a few days ago. I was gonna start this one, but then my daughter was like, no, I want to pick out what you read. So she picked out a completely different book for me, which was good. It was good. It was a good book. I'm not mad at it at all. She picked out a good one. This is a young adult fantasy. Our main character is a social worker. He is a social worker for children with magical abilities. And he gets a report, or he gets this case on these kids at this orphanage. And apparently they're like badass kids. Or kids with the potential to like wreak havoc, burn the world down, bring on the end days type situation. It says The House in the Cerulean Sea is an enchanting love story, masterfully told about the profound experience of discovering an unlikely family and an unexpected place and realizing that family is yours. A magical island, a dangerous task, a burning secret. Last physical one, and then I have 2 ebooks. And this is Blood and Brujas by Michaela Hornado. First of all, this is the Satisfaction like special edition. Y'all, look how beautiful that cover is. Satisfaction is a book subscription service that highlights BIPOC authors, and I think it's primarily fantasy, romantasy stories. Okay, so basically Diana is like this total baddie, and she grew up in like the society of witches. Her mom is like the head honcho, the head witch. Diana has basically been like, you know, the right hand, the sword, you know. You line them up, I'll knock them down type situation. Her mom strikes this deal with the vampires, right? You're like, hey, you know, war's over. Let's end this, squash this beef. Let's have peace now. Let's have a truce, and let's seal it with a marriage. So she offers Diana's hand in marriage to the Vampire King. Is Diana gonna stick with this? Is she gonna kill the king or respect this marriage and get married to this guy? We shall see. All right, so our last two books are ebooks, and they're on my Kindle. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So Obsidian Feathers by In Casere. Let me look, because I don't even know what it's about. I can't even remember what it's about. Like, I've had it on there for so long. I'm not reading this. This is long. Okay, so it's a dark romantasy set in like El Salvador. Looks like the average rating for this is 4.0, so 4 stars. So this that sounds good, right? Grounds of Resemblance. And this one is by H.K. Lauren, so Kentucky girl, hey. Okay, from Elsandra's point of view. It says, for 500 years, I've been alone, serving as the second ruling queen of Menelaus. Though the crown that rests upon my brow beckons me to end this 1,000-year war, I cannot, because of him. The enemy, the mirror of my soul. If he gets his hands on me, I'll never know. Felix, it's our main male character. For 5 centuries, she has run from her destiny beside me on the Rician throne. She has run from me. Unfortunately for Alessandra, my patience has run out. While the spoils of war are sweet, I only require what is already mine. Her. All right. So, Faded Loves, Mirror Soul. Sounds like a good time. We are here to support the local authors. So this one has an average rating of 3.65. Not bad. You know, indie authors, we gotta hype them up. We gotta help them out. So I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna read this book, help my girl out. So that's my 25 for 2025. Have y'all read any of these? Let me know down in the comments which ones are worthwhile, which ones should I like put the brakes on, push down towards the end of the year, which ones do y'all feel like I need to read like right now, like ASAP? Which one of these do I need to prioritize? Because I'm definitely feeling like next month is February, the month of love, so maybe it would be good to kind of prioritize some of the romance especially Real. Like, I already feel like I'm gonna read that next month for sure. But yeah, I mean, I have all year to sprinkle these in. If you've read any of these, let me know down in the comments. Like I said, which ones did you like? Which ones were like, eh? So just let your girl know. That is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends. Bye.